welcome to another episode of Ndeipi Diaspora. Hey ladies.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing good. We have a question of the day.
Yeah.
Are you
Drop
ready?
it.
Yeah. So we know that it takes a village to raise a child.
Mm-hmm.
We know that's right. So tell me, how is raising a child in this diaspora, or helping raise a child for the aunties? How is it been, or how does it, right, your aunties, how does it change being in the internet era? Like, what do you think has changed? You know, when we grew up, we were only on sync, you know what I mean? Like, texting was 10 cents.
Okay. Sneaking the
Things
phone.
have changed, you know? So tell me, what do you think? How do we raise our children in this internet era?
You know, I think it depends on every family and what family values you have.
Yes,
you know, we all want to provide, of course, you know, the new gadgets for our children, you know, because you want to be a cool mom. You give them an Apple Watch, you know. But if the gadgets are taking away from quality family time, then that's a problem. That's where you have to draw the line. So like in my home, I do threaten, I will take that phone away, and I will take that, watch away, and I'll take the iPad away because I bought it with my money. Straight up, like there's no like, oh no, I don't sugarcoat stuff. I tell exactly the way it is. So she knows when to get on the internet. She knows how to act. She knows how to answer me correctly. Because some of them be watching stuff on TV and they want to swing. No, we don't swing necks in my house. We don't do that.
Bring that neck back.
I was a neck swinger, I'm sorry.
Because when
Loose neck.
because when we were growing up, right? Spanking was allowed. Spanking was the thing. But of course, we don't spank here.
You don't? No, I mean, we don't spank here as in we are not allowed, or are you saying
We're not allowed to spank here, you know. But I think it's just how you raise your kids and what your values are in your home. Internet era is very difficult, but you have to place those core values and go with it.
I agree. Well, let me tell you how I raise my kids, okay?
How she raises my kids. Tell them how you raise my kids.
Okay, no, but you know what I think? I think it's a little scary being in like the digital internet era, because I feel like kids are exposed to way more now than they would have been before. Right. Like everything is literally just right there at their fingertips. They can look up anything they want to look up. They have access to all kinds of things. So I think it forces parents to be, I think parents need to also be tech savvy. Oh. Parents need to know. You need to know how to go through Instagram, how to go through Snapchat, how to put parental controls on. Yeah. I think it forces parents to learn and kind of keep up with your kids, because you have to know what they're talking about, because kids talk in code sometimes and all this kind of stuff. You have to be on top of it. I think a lot of times it's like the internet and social media and all of this is dictating how kids are. No, kids need to know that parents are still in control and run things like you're saying. Yeah. So I think parents really have to be like on top of it, because there's just so much out there nowadays. Like, I'm just so thankful I grew up in the era that I grew up in, because we weren't exposed to so much. We kind of developed at what was developmentally appropriate at that time, you know. But now you've got 9-year-olds talking about stuff that I'm like,
and then they come up with, that's what's up. That thing when they say, that's what's up. I'm like, that's what's up, what?
No, I say that's
what's up. That's what's up.
But you know, at the same time too, I think it's a little, there's like another part of it, because as parents, I don't think you can also like fully restrict that with your kids, because they also, I mean, the world that we're in now, they need to be tech savvy. Yeah. They have to know. So you have to expose them to it, so they're up there with their counterparts. But I think it just means that you as a parent have to be on top of it as well.
Okay. That's true, because my mom was not on top of it. Like, I swear, I feel like my mother, like, she low-key, like, helped me, like, learn IT stuff. Like, she used to take away, like, she thought she was slick. She took away, I'm gonna take away the keyboard, no, the mouse, right? Like, this I swear to God, this is like 15, I don't know, like 20 years ago, I don't know. So she's like, I'm taking away the mouse. And I was like, all right. So me and my brother learned how to, like, do short keyboard. No, I swear to God, like, you got good. I was like, I'm like, Tremaine, press tab, shift, go to the next tab. Oh, we come in and she's like, how you guys do the computer on the mouse? I said, I don't know. So then she got switched to like a keyboard, like mouse. I was like, okay, I can still do stuff, get a, like, the digital keyboard, download a keyboard, learn how to play. I was like, you might take away both. And she did. But like, my poor kid, I work in IT, so like my poor future kids, I'm gonna know.
Yeah,
thing too is like with the discipline, it's like you said, we used to like, I got beat and spanked, and you got, like it's a village, right? Like my mama didn't care who beat me in the street. I was like, what?
She was like, thank you for doing that.
Right. And I was out like, you can't hit me. My mom was like, go call your mama. My mom was like, do it again. And then I got beat again when I got home. I was like, twice. I already got beat on the street though. Like, but like I turned out okay. But like now with the new era, I've seen these parents. You've seen these parents that went viral disciplining their kids with the same technology that they use. Like that's what I like. There was like this one parent. I forgot what it was, but like her son, she got called into school because her son was like dancing on the Fortnite games on the cafeteria table or something like that. And you know what she did? She made him. She videotaped him. She's like, "Oh, you want to play Fortnite? Do all the moves. Do all the moves." And look, it's like, I don't want to. She's like, "No, keep dancing. You want to play Fortnite? You gonna keep dancing. You gonna play Fortnite." I was like, yes, mama. Use that same technology. Oh, you want to be on the computer? Oh, we all gonna be on the computer. So I like that. I was like, okay, I like the little spin.
That's what we shall be.
Yeah. Warning.
No, I think it's good. The internet era has its pros and its cons, especially raising kids.
Yeah.
My kids are still very small, but they do love their iPads. But I have learned that I have to reduce screen time, especially for the young kids, with the blue filters and things that happen with your eyes and things like that, just for health reasons. But you know what? I think we have to strike that balance. Kind of like what you said, you kind of make sure you align your technology with your core values and making sure that it's not just limiting so that they put them at a disadvantage in school, but that it's not as open that they're sexting and things like that. Because now you have all these crazy things going on, especially Snapchat. You're kind of like, it can disappear after 24 hours.
I don't care.
Oh, you know how to get it?
Yeah, what I'm saying is, but there's other apps that actually
Auntie knows how to get it.
Okay,
find you help.
Okay, I'm in the
But what I learned, I actually learned more about people's kids
through
Snapchat.
That's
through
so
Facebook.
true.
And the young kids aren't doing Facebook. It's like through Snapchat, through Twitter. I'm like,
15, 16, 17.
Like you're doing all that.
Yeah.
That's what y'all do.
People put their whole business. I saw this meme once, and I loved it. It's like when I was younger, when we were younger, we were afraid that people on the internet would find us in real life, right?
They don't care anymore.
You got scared. You were like, "Oh, they're a predator. They're gonna kill us and stuff." Now that I'm older, I'm afraid that people in real life are find me on the internet. Your coworkers be like, that's to be cussing on the internet. Like, it's so funny how it's a real culture shift. That's my favorite meme. I was like, "Oh, that's so true." Yeah.
Well, that's really good insights, ladies, because, like I say, core values and, people, of course, are going to discipline their kids the way they want to. I'm not that mom who's going to say, "Oh, I don't like the way she disciplines her kids because they probably don't like the way I discipline my kids." But I think if we just do it all the way that we feel it, this is the right way for our families, then I think it works that way, right?
Yes.
So we're going to be back on part 2 of this episode with a wonderful lady, Leah Chikumbindi. She is based here in Dallas, Texas, and she has a wonderful, amazing story. So please sit and hang tight. And you want to say something about my card?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we are all here, ready, prepared, ready to go. And what's different in this thing?
One of these
Where
things
is
is
Waldo?
not like the other, right?
No, it just says I know my stuff. I don't even look at my cards.
Okay.
I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, well.
Catch this space. Okay.
We'll be back. guest with us today, Leah Chikumbindi. Welcome, Miss Leah.
Thank you so much for having me here, ladies. I'm so glad to get to meet you all and to be part of your show today.
Yes, thank you.
And I know that you've been in Dallas for a while now.
Absolutely.
Okay. And I know you have a girls foundation that you run.
That's correct.
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your journey here to the U.S. and your girls foundation?
Absolutely. To begin with, I was born and raised in Zimbabwe, where most of you are from.
Right.
And I did my education there and grew up in a family where Christianity was the basic religion that we knew. And so that was part of who I am growing up. And so at age 13, I was living with my brother in the city and his wife, and my life kind of took a turn at that point. And I was molested while I was living with my brother there, but it was within the four walls of the house and nobody did know about it. I did not share about it with the fear of, am I going to be believed? Is this my fault? And I was even threatened that if you tell anybody, nobody's going to believe you. So I suffered through that from 7th grade till I was in Form 2. And I was able to remove myself from that. And so that changes who you are.
Oh, yes.
That changes the trajectory of your life. But you don't know at that point that this is changing me, because you're forced to be a woman before you are. And it affected my self-esteem and my trust with people. And there wasn't all those lines of communication that I think I could have gotten to be able to say what was going on. So that's what shaped the ministry, and just to give you a little bit of that. But when I was 17, I became a Christian. So there's something different about being raised in a Christian home and becoming a Christian.
Right.
So at age 17, because that's the time I removed myself from the situation, which was very unbearable. So with that said, I did not deal with this molestation or that part of my life. I just closed the door. And I went back and stayed with my parents because it was after the liberation struggle, if you all know. And so I was able to find this new path, and I was excited about it. And I didn't know how I was supposed to deal with this part. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So as time went on, I was so involved in the church, and I had this thing in the back of my head that I would like to have a man who is going to be my husband at some point. But it has to be a man who is a Christian, who is so on fire about God and everything else, because that's what I thought was the safest thing to do. And so as time went on, being involved in the church, at one time, way before, but let me backtrack a little bit. When I was in Form 3, I had become a Christian at 17, and that was in April of 1984. I remember that vividly. In August, I met a boyfriend. I met a boyfriend. Here I just became a Christian, and I'm meeting this guy, and we were in a wedding, and it was my sister was getting married to his cousin, and so we ended up being in this wedding together.
And that's how people used to meet a lot.
They do.
Yeah.
So
It's like, exactly.
It's
Go to weddings.
but it's like,
Go to weddings.
I don't know. So we dated because it was kind of like this love, and we ended up being together anyway because we didn't know how to do the dance, and everybody knew. So we ended up being together. So we were like, okay, we don't know how to do the steps, so we might as well sit. And then we were talking, and then all of a sudden I figured out we're in love. And here I am, I'm Form 3, and I just became a Christian. I'm like, what am I doing? So when the wedding was over, and we just went our separate ways. And I was like, oh no, that was no good. Why am I in a relationship? I just found out this Jesus, and I'm in love with this Jesus, and here I am, but this is not the guy that I want. I have all these questions going on in my head, and I never communicated. He would communicate with me, I never communicated back. And then we would meet, because now we have kind of family. Right. We'd meet, we'd pick it up where we left. And then I would just like, no. So that went on for probably about 4 different times. And let me fast forward that.
Okay.
I am married to him now.
All right.
But that's not my first marriage.
Okay.
Because I believed that this is not the man. He was not on fire for God. He loved God, of course, because he was raised in a Christian home just like I was, but I was a Christian and I don't think he was. So I never, even though many times this man chased me down, and I was like, no, I don't want him. He's not. So while I was involved in the church at this point, and I met this pastor who was a missionary to Zimbabwe from the United States.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
So we dated for about 2 years, and we married. He came. It happened so fast. Okay, I have to marry you because my contract with the church is ended, and I didn't know there was a history behind that. So I was like, oh, okay, he's a pastor, he's a Christian, he's on fire for God, so he is the guy. So we got married in November. You don't do that in Africa. That's what they say.
Yeah, November is a month in Zimbabwe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Yeah, in November there's no marriage. You know, like they I don't know. There's something about November for sure. I know that.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
no well for a reason,
Yeah.
right?
Well, my lobola was paid in November. My wedding was in November. So I don't know whether that is true to that, but whatever, that happened, and I had a very beautiful wedding. It was in the garden. Our wedding was in the newspaper the following day, and but it was not what God intended.
Wow.
But you're married to a pastor. Right?
This was a pastor. This was a pastor, and so but I saw the signs, but because I justified it, I was like, he's a Christian, and I will change him. I was 25 at the time, and like, time is up. I gotta be. So this is it. So
The pressure of society.
yeah. So and I remember as we were getting ready for the wedding the following day. Prior to that, we were all sitting together, just talking about the wedding, and I'm just hearing him. He's just angry. And my friend, who was the maid of honor, she said, "Leah, say no."
Oh, wow.
When he asked us.
In front of everyone.
In front of everybody, say no. I say, I cannot do that. Do you realize everybody has come to this, and I cannot do that.
And the African custom is even 10 times.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, no, I cannot do that.
What was your relationship like with her after?
It was
Was
good.
it because some women are scared to speak out, to your friend,
Exactly.
your best friend, because you want what's best for them. So I guess it was bold for her to do it.
It was
right?
It was the day before,
Are
right?
y'all still friends now?
We're friends, but I don't know where she is.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know where she is.
Yeah.
And at the back of my mind, I'm saying, he's tired because he flew from America, and we're doing this. This is very frustrating probably for him. So I'm justifying everything. And my friend stormed out of where we were because this was prior to the wedding. It was like a night before, and she left and she went to her apartment, and we were going to take her to her apartment, and she walked. She said, "I don't need you to help me." And I said, "Okay, now my maid of honor is gone." So she was supposed to come the following morning to the wedding so that we can dress up and just go to the chapel. She did not, and she hasn't come by the time we talked about it. So I'm asking my sister, can you just wear her dress? And then she shows up in a taxi, and I'm like, okay, she's here, so we're gonna go through this. And honestly, everything, that wedding was just so difficult. This man was upset. He was just talking under his breath. He's calling me names So, but I was like, I'll brave it. I can do it. And when you've seen women being talked down, some part of your life, it's like, oh, okay, this is normal.
Yeah,
This is normal. and it's not normal.
No.
So
And
how did you break away from that eventually and get to the main, like, love of your life? Like the person you're
So
with?
that only took 3 months. That marriage
Okay.
took 3 months. We came to the United States, and it just did not work. It was very abusive, and sometimes decided I wanted to take my own life. But
goodness.
you know, he was the one who rescued me too. So God uses everything that's around us and everybody. So anyway, I went back home, and a year later, we met with my
Current husband.
current husband. Well, he had already been in a relationship, and there were 2 daughters into that relationship. So I'm seeing him, and then I said, we're talking, like, let me tell you about my life. And he said, let me tell you about my life.
Right.
And then he said it with tears. He said, I wanted to marry you. And you ran away with the American guy. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, I know. But at that point, I'm not thinking about marriage at that time. I'm not thinking about it. But I found somebody who's listening, who's hearing me. So picked up like we usually do from there, and I got pregnant quickly. But anyway,
I said that's the best way to do it.
quickly. I mean, I did quickly, and I was just happy. That was all for me. Oh, you know, if I'm gonna have this baby, and this baby is going to love me for me, and he's going to call me mom, even though the world is labeled me stupid at this point.
Right.
But this child is going to love me no matter what. So it became everything to me. Didn't care about the dad, if whatever, but I got
Your baby.
So anyway, I ended up coming back to the United States. I was 4 months pregnant at the time, and then later on he followed, which surprised me because I didn't really care for him coming. But he surprised me. He called me when he was in New York, like I'm about to be there. But anyway, he finally came. Our son was 3 months at the time, and joined us. So that's how we ended up being together. But here's the thing that I want to share with everybody. 2 broken people, put them together, they're gonna break each other.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to break each other because they did not heal from the pain of their past relationships. And I don't think I had healed from that, from my past. From all my past, let's say that, he had not either. So here we are. We love each other so much, but we hurt each other so much. And here we have a child. So we're like, okay, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to be here to do this together for my child, for our child. And then we had a baby number 2. Quickly.
I'm like, this guy is, you're fertile.
Both, right?
So they are like 15 months apart. And then I was like, okay, so I'm here to stay. But it was really rough. But we were rubbing each other so bad. But we were in a good church. We were part of a good church with a pastor who cared. And I ended up one day in his office. I said, there's a problem. There's a problem. And then he started asking me all these questions. I said, okay, tell me about your life. Tell me about Zimbabwe, how you grew up. And then as I was talking, I got to the point where I talked about the molestation for the first time. And he said, that's where we need to begin.
Right.
The healing.
That's where it needs to begin. So I said, I don't want my family to know about this. This is going to rip my family apart. And he said, that part, it will take course on its own. If you have to, and if you don't have to, but you have to heal. So he walked through with me the journey, and I was part of a women's Bible study who are older than me, and you know the ones who would say, "Oh, that happened to me." They are at that point they are comfortable to say, "This happened to me," and they are holding my hand to say, "You're gonna get through it.
Okay.
You're gonna get through it." So that helped me a lot. I'm thinking if I was in a Bible study where there was just women of my age, we are struggling with diapers, we are struggling with probably, you know, raising kids and going to work and all that. I probably was going home feeling the same way. But these women were so mature, well seasoned to be able to help me. So that helped me a whole lot.
So do you think those women helping you is what gave you the, I guess, courage or the drive to start your own foundation for younger people as well?
It did. It helped me get there. It helped me get there. So there's one time where there was a conference that was taking place at the American Center in Dallas, and it was the Women of Faith conference. And it was my first time signed up. I did not sign up because we didn't have the money for me to sign up. So, but everybody there was in the church, the women in this group, they were going. And so my husband came home. It was on a Wednesday when this conference was starting. And so he came home after work on that Friday night and he said, and you need to dress up, make sure you look good, and we want to go somewhere. And I'm thinking, where am I going? And at that time, with the younger one, the third child, she was about 6 months. And so we went down to Dallas, and he said, go to that booth and see if there's some tickets for the conference. And I said, okay, he gave me the money, I'm just going there. And they said the tickets are out. So as I was walking back, and the lady called me back, she said, okay, come back. There's somebody who left this ticket, and it was a VIP ticket.
Oh.
Okay. So here I am walking into this American Line Center, and I'm being escorted because I have a VIP ticket. And I'm hearing this young, petite lady. She's not very young, but she was a petite lady, very energetic. And it was Patty Claremont welcoming all the women to the conference. And she was saying, you're welcome. And she's saying, you're welcome. And I am walking in. And I'm being escorted to my VIP seat. She said, welcome to the Women of Faith conference. You've been juggling work during the day, trying to make sure the dinner is ready. You leave everything in place to be here. And I'm feeling
like she's talking to you.
She's talking to me. And I'm feeling so different. And then as I sit there, I'm listening to those ladies sharing their stories and their journeys, and I am so wowed. I'm connecting with them, but this one woman connected with me in a very different way, and it was Sheila Walsh's testimony. And this is a woman who is famous. She has everything. She has the money. She is somebody. She's a speaker. She's a writer. She has everything going on, and she was feeling so empty. She had all the past of abuse and all kinds of situations, and I could relate.
So hearing her story, did that help you with your healing?
It helped me in every way, because her last words were, you are a daughter of a king.
That's right.
At one time she wanted to end her life. She stood on the bridge in Wales, and she wanted to end it all. And I was there at some point. Because I had so much baggage and there was no end to the pain. And this is a woman who had everything. I didn't have as much as she had, but she wanted to end it all. And she had God tapping on her shoulder that, you are my princess. And I did not know that about God, that he looks at me like that. And it was my message. I was bawling. And by the time I was done there that night, I said, I want to go back to Zimbabwe and tell every little girl, whether they're molested, whatever the situation is, I want them to know that they are daughters of a king and they are a princess. And if they can know that at the youngest age, it will shape their future.
So what's the name of your foundation again?
It's called Set Apart Global Ministries, but that's what it is now.
Right.
But it started as Girls Set Apart Ministries.
You started specifically targeting to girls, but I did see that you've now opened it up to young boys as well.
Absolutely. And that I never knew that was going to be. That we're going to have boys in there, because I don't know how to minister to boys. We have a son, but I'm a mother and everything else, but that's all I knew. But as far as ministering to boys, I didn't have a story.
Right.
But until last year, a little boy came to me, and I've always had that, when mothers say, okay, you have all these girls, you're ministering, what about the boys? What do we do with the boys? And I'm like, if ever we have anybody who is good in doing that, will support, will help, give them the resources. Right. And I heard that many times. Until last October, a little boy came to an event that we had a gala, and it was no children at that event, but that's what we said on the invitation. Here, this little boy, he came to me and he said, and he was 9, and he said, well, boys are cool too. You only do Princess in me, but we can have Prince in me. Oh, yeah. And I was like, God, what are you saying? Yeah. I struggled with that, hearing that voice for 2 nights. Right. And I said, God, I can't stop that anymore. Right. It's going to happen, but you're going to provide the man. That's right. You're going to provide the man. We will do whatever we have to do. It's going to be. So we sat with our board and talked about that, and then we said, okay, it can no longer be Girls Set Apart Ministries. We still have that part, Girls Set Apart. Right. We still have that. We still have the Princess in Me. But let's do this combined, that our ministry is Set Apart Global Ministries.
Be more inclusive.
Yes. So that has changed a whole lot in the sense that we're able to minister to a family.
Right.
That's good. Yeah.
We are able to minister to a family.
And you know, earlier in this episode, we talked about how we're raising kids in a digital era, right? And you do a lot of work ministering to young kids. And I wonder, what advice or words do you have for parents who are raising kids who can often sometimes have everything, all the gadgets, all the clothes, all the this, all the that, but sometimes feel empty too because they're turning to social media, comparing themselves to others who seem like they have way more. And oftentimes kids have this sense of emptiness too because the world is so superficial in a lot of ways. So I wonder what advice or words can you share with like parents who are raising kids in this era?
And what I do see also with the problem is it has become a problem for everybody.
Yes.
Parents have been also consumed in that, and at some point, I fall victim to that too. But at the back of our minds as parents, we should know that we are the leaders, we are the parents, we are in charge. Whatever we are bringing to our kids, are we telling them how to use those things? Are we giving the opportunity to use them and to withdraw from that? Because sometimes, most of the time, I've noticed that too, kids, it becomes part of what they have to do so that the parents don't get bothered.
Right.
You know, so at what point do you say it's enough? And that way you can have those open lines of communication. Because even though when the time I grew up, we didn't have all those things.
Right.
But I don't think there was those dialogues where we can sit down and talk about whatever is happening. But that was the time. That's all they could do. But here now, we are living in a different era where we have to pay more attention to what is happening. I tell you, every time there is always something that is popping up on the screen for a child. And even if as an adult, you're going to be tempted to just say, click, and that's how you're gone. So the same thing for our kids. Let's pay more attention. Let's have those lines of communications open. Talk to the child. Like when, now we have 3 kids, and 2 of them are in college, and we have 1 in the home. As soon as she gets in the car, I'm asking questions. How are you? How was your day? And then sometimes, she's so done with school, and I'm asking questions over it. Oh yeah.
And I'm like, take your headphones out. Let's talk to you.
And I'm like, how was your day? And she's so much of an introvert. I have to get it out of her. So I'm asking, how was your day? Good. Did you have a good time in class? It's one with answers. But I'm keep on throwing it. I keep on throwing it to her so that we can have that communication. So try by all means. And taking the gadgets away sometimes is not enough. But have some time limits.
No, I think what you said is very, very essential. Just it may not have to be a no cell phone free zone, but maybe just setting the boundaries in each person's household to make sure that the technology doesn't lead or the technology doesn't parent
or dictate
the household, or dictate the household.
Can you tell us a little bit more about your book? I know, where can people buy your book? I know you have some books available. I know we're going to share some with us, so we're excited to read them. Can you tell us a little bit more about the book and where we can get the book?
Yes, I wrote this book in 2014, but basically it's from my journey that we took together as a family. Our daughter, who is our middle child, she fell sick in 2009 of the swine flu.
Oh my goodness!
And it was a very scary time. So this book shares from the beginning when she started falling sick. She went to a youth church camp and she came back sick. But she was just a strong child, so we did not really pay much attention. Now, I was Dr. Mom. Dr. Mom. Doctors. So we're doing the home remedies and everything else. We took her to the doctor and they said, it was a virus, but it turned out that she had the swine flu. So it was very, very tough time. She was medically medically induced coma so that she can be treated, but it was at one time she would be resuscitated, and but I remember going in the very first days, I'm just seeing her lying down there like there was no life, and I'm sitting by her side and I am just crying and say, get up, please. Your kids become your supporters. And here I am in this room. And so, fast forwarding, there were moments God was so real. And, He really told me that she's going to be okay through one of the nurses. But that's when I started journaling while I was in there. And I said, I will never shed a tear. Because sometimes when I was shedding these tears, I would be so upset with the enemy. And I'm just shouting and screaming at the enemy. And then I end up, I'm praying. And then I told myself, I'm not going to cry again. I'm not going to shed a tear. And I'm not going to allow anybody who come into this room. So we made a promise, me and my husband, that anybody who comes into this room, we're not going to cry. You're not going to have a sad face because she's going to feel it. Right. So there was hope in there, but it's because of the support that we were having from the community, from the church, and that supported us in a whole big way. So as I shared every step of the way, as I was journaling, there were moments that I knew God was real. We knew that God was real, but I could not even remember one verse from the Bible. I could not remember. And I remember at one time she had come out of the coma, and I was sitting there to see her vital signs dropping. Wow. And I'm holding her hand, I'm asking, you okay? She says, okay. But they were just dropping. And I'm seeing everybody, the nurses, the doctors were just rushing in there. Within a short time, I was told to go up. And the nurses were writing the vital signs, the doctors were giving orders, and I'm there. And in that moment, I was taken away to how I see God rushing to my rescue. He's got all these angels. He's giving instructions, do this, and I'm just there. And that ministered to me in a whole different way too. That when we are in our deepest, darkest moments, God is there. Right. He shows up. Even though we cannot recite even one Bible verse, He knows our heart. The Holy Spirit draws for us. Yeah. So that's the journey that I share in there, and it led into us after she got well. It led us to lose our home and being homeless for about a week. But God is a restorer. This all did not matter. We had our child. But at the same time, the story in there, the book is entitled In the Valley with Jesus, no matter what valley is. We had our valley with my husband in our marriage. Right. And when you're in the valley, you don't know you're in the valley. You're just hurting. Right. You're just hurting. And I'm going to come back to where you can find the book. The valley that we were in, it was in 2000 and between 2010 and 2015, I lost my father, my brother, my sister, and that's when I shared the story also about the molestation. As I was feeling being led to start this ministry, to really physically start the organization. And I was broken for the pain, and the time now I knew that God really wanted me to start this ministry. And I said, God, I do not even want to share the story. I can just minister to people like I'm doing, right now. But I don't want to share the story because of the intensity of it. But he said, it's not your story, it's my story. Right. But here I'm also going through pain. I'd written this book because it was therapeutic for me to get past that. And then I've lost all of these other family members, and I am bringing this story out, and I had to share that with my family. And it was difficult. The fear of not sharing the molestation at the time became the reality. Right. That I didn't really believed. And I questioned the reactions. I mean, I had support of, say, 1%. What I can say to people is when somebody tells you their hurts, their pain, or if they are molested, especially that part. I understand we're going through the Me Too movement now. People are sharing stories from way back when. If you don't have that experience, and if you don't know what to say, don't say anything.
Yeah, don't judge it. Yeah, I think that is very, very insightful. And thank you so much for writing the book. I know it was therapeutic for you, but I know it can give hope to someone else's story. Thank you so much for joining us on our show. Your story has just kind of given us a new light on believing victims and making sure that their voices are heard, and knowing that we are daughters and sons, of the King. And that's so if you guys want to learn more about her charity, please make sure you follow the website down below, and make sure you comment and give us your feedback about your stories. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch you on Hot Topics.
With Hot Topics.
Let's get into it.
All right, so we're talking about a lot of like children, like raising your children in this day and age. So I have a question about when it comes to celebrities. A lot of times, we watch our reality shows and things like that, and I know that these celebrities have chose to be famous or notoriety because of what they do. But sometimes they get like people's children involved. And what do you think about that? Should children be off topics or off limits, or should they? Anything's fair if we're in like love and war, you know what I mean? Like,
children are a sensitive issue, okay? Very sensitive issue. So I feel like, yes, paparazzi need to respect that space, Now, unless if the celebrity wants their kids to be, photographed and all that other stuff, then that's fine. But I think children are a very sensitive issue. Allow these children to grow up at their own pace, at their own time. Allow them to be able to make decisions whether they want to be on these magazines or not. I know people pay millions and millions of dollars just to see celebrity kids, like Meghan Markle's about to have a baby, right? Yeah, allow these families to have their time. I know the parents have chosen a path to be famous, but the kids haven't chosen a path to be famous yet, So allow these kids to grow up and have their time. Take the pictures, make videos. You can make video clips, you can do everything. And I know it takes 18 years for somebody to say, you know what, I want to be in a picture or I want to be in a video. But you have to allow people to enjoy their family time and their life. That's just me. So they should be off limits.
I definitely think kids should be off limits in terms of, you guys, I remember Blue Ivy. Everyone would talk about Blue Ivy's hair. Beyonce and Jay-Z need to fix her hair. There were petitions online because somebody combed that child's hair. Okay, she's a child.
Yeah.
Right. Shiloh, Brad Pitt and Angelina's child, because she dresses so tomboyish, there was all this what are they trying to do with this child? They need to dress her more appropriate. These are kids. limits. And I feel like people behind their phones and their keyboards, they feel so invincible to be able to just say whatever about anyone's child.
Internet trolls.
Children have to be off limits.
Like you said, Sneaky Way, you do not judge how people discipline their own kids. What someone chooses to do with their child's hair or how someone chooses to dress their child, I think that let that be between that child and their parent, and you have no say. You don't pay that kid's bills. You ain't birthed this child. Like, you have no say. I really feel like
Off limits.
children should be off limits. Talk about the
Parents.
moms and the parents and all their bad decisions and this and that. Be judgmental and opinionated. Have your thoughts and your opinions, but you don't have to share.
Right.
That's true.
I agree. I concur. Kids are off limits. Like, especially for me, I don't really post a lot about my kids on social media. I always have this thing like they're gonna be memes somewhere, and I can't be able to control the
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you never know
That's
that
scary.
picture.
That's a real
And then if you
scary.
look, some people's pictures get taken from online and reused and repurposed without your knowledge because it's out there. So I really try not to post my kids on social media, you know, unless they give me consent. And they say, you know what, I'm okay with that. So even at daycare, when you fill out the form, or at church, when they're like, oh, do you mind if your kids? Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Okay. And if I see it, I'll kindly tell you, take it down.
Yeah.
You know, I've tried with their grandparents for that. So.
That's a whole other story.
You know? But I mean, I mean, it depends, I guess, also on the age, because like I remember Nene clapped back at one of Kim Zolciak's kids about the whole roach thing.
Situation.
That was wrong. She was wrong.
And she was grown.
So
She was over
so
18.
y'all saying she's over 18?
Oh, she's.
And then
she
also,
was-
remember Jocelyn Hernandez when she went back as Stevie J's daughter?
Oh, really?
I was like, ooh,
yes.
I was like, yeah, but you was acting like you was grown. Like, it's one of those things where I'm like,
So
I
that's
go either way.
Yeah, some people.
I don't know. And then also, like low key, like for me, like, I'm not like okay, I'm a spiteful person, right? Like if you do something to me, it's coming back to me. It's what I mean, like in general, like it's like you know, like vengeance is. I know it's supposed to be the Lord. This is mine. Sorry. You know what I mean? So I was like, I won't go for your kids, but if you were going for my nieces or my nephews, I would cut. Like don't. You know, because you know how much time people come for like my mother's kids, as in me, and I'm just like me. With my Soldier Boy voice. What? Nah, but like I at least that to myself. But I'm just trying to say, like, don't come for my mother's kids, which are me, and not look at your own kids. That's what my problem is. Because all these people that like to talk about people's kids, like to say like, oh, my kid would never. I was like, first of all, I know your kid, and your kid does. Okay. So like, what are you talking about? First of all, right? Don't swear for nobody. So that's why I'm just like, I'm like, kids are off limits in that sense, because it's like, nah, you don't know what your kids are really doing, and don't talk about other people's kids, and then your kids gonna end up worse. I've seen it happen time and time again. Believe it, karma is a bitch. It will come back around.
Can you bleep that?
I gotta bleep myself.
But you know the thing is, like, these kids are gonna be able to snoop around on the internet someday and see all these comments about themselves. What do you think that's gonna do to them? Okay.
Wow.
That's why I'm so happy my bullies are like, you know, like they just said it, if you weren't there, you missed it. Like, it's like, Charmaine did an now were you there? I thought, no, she did not say that. I don't care, no, you misheard. And we're gonna be like, screenshot, like it's right here. I'll be like, it's right there.
Oh well, okay. Oh my goodness. Well, what we would love to hear from you guys too. What do you think? Should kids be off limits? I mean, let us know. And thank you again for watching this episode of Ndeipi MuDiaspora.